of this month at the Super Stop. But actually that would be the 21st, which would be, I think it's tomorrow. So we're supposed to be functional tomorrow at the location.
I guess the 21st would be Wednesday, but that's great news to know that's come
Yes,
so far. And
yes,
love the pictures. It looks like it's really came along well and should be a great functional space for y'all.
yes. Actually, we did a walkthrough last week. We walked over and everything really looks great. It's great. Okay, so we'll move to page 13 with the Davis and Floyd bench and shelter project. Page 13 has a summary. So the details starts on page 14. So on page 14, the completed sites are bus stop number 1231, which is at Sumter Street and Gervais. The approved sites are the shelter at Broad River and Shivers. And also we're still waiting on the completion of the sidewalk at Hardscrabble. And that's for the bus stop 1650 at Hardscrabble and Bush. So the sites currently under permit review is Broad River Road and Rushmore, which is right there at Rush's, the restaurant on Broad River Road. And they're still reviewing the easement. And also at Lexington Medical Center off of Sunset, that one, they're reviewing the easement as well. Okay, on page 15, sites and design, there are 5 shelters that's presently in design. Also, we have 20 benches in design. And there's one that was taken off the list, which is located at Broad River Road and Beatty Road. The property owner did not provide the easement, so we couldn't do that one.
Is there an opportunity to relocate that adjacent or nearby so that folks could still be served and have that amenity?
Yes, we will find another location. And actually where that was requested is directly across from the existing stop and shelter at the neighborhood Walmart that was on Broad River that was closed. So we were trying to put one directly across from there. So, but we will find one in the area.
Right.
A location.
Wonderful. And I do see a lot of aspirational amenities out there. And so I know that this is all very much needed, and I appreciate y'all's efforts to get this stuff implemented.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we'll go to a ridership. So the ridership for the month of November was 122,649. Compared to November of last year, it was 132,260, which is a 7.54% decrease. And actually, if you look at the chart below, that's due to the USC ridership that was decreased.
Any idea why? That's a stark difference that you can see in that bar chart. Any idea why that may have been?
It's around the holidays, Thanksgiving, when the kids or the students are out of school, with the semester ends for the holiday. So I'm sure it's got a lot to do with that.
Okay. Interesting. We'll
Yeah.
have to watch and see if it's a trend or a one-off.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll go to page 17 is our financial report for a period ending October 31st. And then page 18 is our DBE tracking report as of October 31st. And that's all I have, unless you have some questions.
Very good. I think I've had an opportunity to ask all my questions, Ms. Bowers. John, Eva, anything y'all wanted to dig into on that?
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right. With that, then we can turn it over to Mr. Maloney. Thank you, Jackie, for your help.
Thank you too.
And we'll pick up with Mike here on page 19 of our agenda packet.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Howdy.
We have some general information for the transportation update. We'll have project manager Rashid Mwakil as moving to part-time, and we're adding a new project manager. So that offer's been sent out to keep our projects moving. Rashid has indicated he's going to continue to help us with closeouts, which we're working on some of our larger projects that we're kind of indicating in our in our reports as in closeout. So it's kind of important and a fair bit of paperwork to get those done and cleaned out as far as completed. We recently had council approval on a wetland credit sale to SCDOT for $2.7 million coming back into the penny account for that initial investment to create the wetland mitigation area. And then we have upcoming the Blythewood widening award of construction. Bids came in on that, and we're evaluating those bids. Any questions so far?
How those bids look compared to your recent estimate?
Well, the recent estimate was, I would say, a number of months ago in, I think the spring, but the project, the low bid came in around 10 million. We had programmed 13 million. So I think when we take into all of our costs into account with design and right-of-way acquisition, as well as our upcoming construction services, will be close, but I think slightly over that 13 million. So we're evaluating that yet to provide a report next month. The award would likely not happen until in February when council returns. If I just evaluated the construction bid to a construction estimate, it would be, say, within just under 20%, if I remember correctly, of the estimate, above that. We're kind of hoping that anything that's going to have any effect from the inflation to be within 20%. So that's the kind of reserves that we have to deal with that.
Gotcha.
For our pre-construction update and or design, we are nearing the construction release on Alpine Sidewalk. There's just some final work that's going on between our staff and DOT on that, as well as implementing the city's standards and special provisions into our project manual. But that one is very close to release. Atlas Road widening. That one, we have to get some easements that Columbia Water could not get. So once we have those through whichever process we end up going with, we'll be ready for a construction release later this winter. And then Bluff Road Phase 2 is in design. I would say kind of in the middle of design. That project's going to proceed with its budget as is. That it allows for some infill sidewalk to occur. It's like a $3 million to $3.5 million budget that we have, and if we were to add sidewalks to go all the way out towards the interstate, we would be adding $9 million to the project, which we don't have right now. So that's not being added. Blythewood area improvements. We've talked in the past about McNulty, and we are awaiting for response from SCDOT on the curvature and design of McNulty to allow 2 semis to pass in that area. We have not gotten comments back, but that's in the middle of design. Broad River Road, widening on the corridor. No, this is Broad River Road corridor NIP, which would be on the southerly side of I-20. And it's at 95% complete, working on right-of-way now. We've asked ROAT to look at any right-of-way that might cause any additional work or relocation or anything like that on the right-of-way plans. We had one such thing that we're reevaluating the design in the particular intersection for that. But that one looks like we're getting too close to final plans and just adjusting the right-of-way work so that we can proceed into right-of-way needs. Broad River Road widening. The right-of-way plans are under development, so we're not to say we're exactly 60%, but we're at right-of-way plan development. The one item that we're working with is the sub-consultant that we have that the team brought in to work on the evaluation of the 54-inch water line. So we have to meet with them and then present back to DOT on that recommendation to leave it in place. Crane Creek NIP, which is an extensive sidewalk group of sidewalk projects, is in the middle of design. And Crane Creek Greenway, we have a revised route along the river that's including environmental checks right now of design. So the OAT is working on the flood impacts and wetland impacts on that. So we'll be getting more information back from them on that. Their plan had showed in preliminary stage kind of a offshoot that went out to a like a fishing pier, and we asked them to adjust that to get the trail further upstream and cross the Crane Creek. So they're doing that evaluation and costs for that. The dirt road evaluation, we've brought more project 1, 2, and 3, and 4 projects back for evaluation to our OETs that are working on dirt road projects. Some of the projects in the past were dropped due to right-of-way, or it says due to design. We wanted to evaluate if there's any changes to that to keep those projects moving forward. And we've found that some of them, they check back with our they can't get right away the way we're acquiring it. So we'll be talking to our ad hoc committee about that in the upcoming future regarding any potential changes to process there. We get into Decker Woodfield NIP. Last week on Monday night, we had a PIM on that project that we ran through Microsoft Teams virtual meeting. We had one citizen attendant. We had Overture Walker, who represents that area for Hunt Club Road. It was a poor turnout. The one attendee we did have asked a few good questions that we kept track of, and we heard from some of our consultants that are working on SCDOT projects that they're having similar effects kind of post-COVID on turnout at some of the virtual meetings. With that project put sidewalk on Hunt Club Road from O'Neill Court to Chatsworth. And from Chatsworth on, it already has sidewalks. So it corrects a gap where there's a lot of multifamily residential development on that same side of the road that needs sidewalk. There's a sidewalk on the other side of the road, but that part of the area is, that side of the road is more undeveloped. So this will connect a lot more people together on sidewalk. Gills Creek Greenway. We're on the right-of-way plans on that. We haven't heard back, I don't believe, any new information from Midlands Tech on that connection of their boardwalk to their property. So we have no new updates on that. Lower Richland Boulevard widening. We do have a meeting with the OET on that recently, and the PIM that we're going to have on the adjustments to that design. It's had been, I believe, descoped to a 3-lane road, but it's 5-lane road from the sheriff's substation to Garner's Ferry. And then it's from the sheriff's substation back to Polo Road. It's 3-lane and then a single-lane roundabout. We'll be providing that information to the public on January 19th of 23, working with our council member, Jaquise Newton. That meeting will be 5 to 7 p.m. on January 19th at the sheriff's substation. Percival sidewalk, Percival Road sidewalk is in property acquisition stage. So we're getting the necessary easements or right away to put that sidewalk in at this time. Pineview Road widening is working on right-of-way plans. The design is almost complete. One item we're looking at is the intersection with American Italian Way. It was always a consideration for a traffic signal, and we're going to likely put that into that project. That was something that was considered an evaluation item as part of completing the Pineview Road widening from Shop Road to Garner's Ferry Road. Polo Road widening, we did get the comments back on the 30% plans, and they're being addressed, and they're moving on in further design on that project. We are setting up a contract for design. Polo Road Greenway is a project that hadn't been started previously, that we are beginning to start our OET on design. So that's something where we got to set up the pre-construction design scope on that. But it was well identified in the Penny's referendum plan. Shop Road widening. We're working on the kind of the pre right-of-way plans. I think there's still areas of design they're working on. We also asked them to look at the block kind of close to the stadium and look at that first block that we're going to be ending at to look at burying power in that first block and possibly removing the railroad crossing at that location, which is a service line that doesn't appear to be used. So our consultant would be coordinating with CSX on that. CERN Phase 2, we are in design and getting design or construction estimates from them. Again, the sidewalk from the existing sidewalk at Lower Richland Connector to I guess we called it Rabbit Run Connector. I think it's now got, what's the name of the road now? Broad River Way, or excuse me, Lower Richland Way up to Trotter Road. And then Smith Rocky Branch Greenway is in final design, and we'll be completing the right-of-way acquisition on that in the city of Columbia. Nothing new on Spears Creek Church Road, just continuing again to right-of-way plans and getting the approval to actually commence right-of-way acquisition. That particular project will have a lot of utility coordination and right-of-way acquisition. Sunset Drive similarly is in right-of-way acquisition. There's a few properties that are getting completed on that before we can get our release on the right-of-way to final plan approval. And then finally, Trentham Newcastle, they're working on the plan changes where we provide a connector to Park Lane for the neighborhood. That is pre-construction. Construction-wise, as we talked about earlier, we received bids on Blythewood widening. Bull and Elmwood starts January 2nd, and we had a notice to the public on that. Dirt Road Package M with Bowstring, Maggie Hip, and Rosa Dowdy and Tall Oaks. Your construction, Bowstring has been paved. The other projects are in various states of preparation for pavement. And then Dirt Road Package N will proceed on January 2nd. And that has a priority of Cornell Adams and then Summer Haven and Belenga Drive. Garner's Ferry, Harmon intersection. They've been working on utility relocations out there. We'll have a meeting on that very soon with our utility coordinator, as we typically have some issues with underground utilities that we need to make decisions on. Innovista Phase 2 is we call it 100% complete. The contractor does have some things to button up with Gadsden and Divine as far as final products there with fencing and curbing. But the Green Street is open. And that occurred on December 7th, shortly after the ribbon cutting. Main Street, they're putting in the final lists of asphalt, and that would complete it after pavement markings are completed out there. So final lists of asphalt need to be completed and pavement markings to complete North Main Street and the North Main Street Monticello intersection. We have actively 3 resurfacing projects. R is nearly complete. S and T are to start both this winter. Screaming Eagle Percival intersection, same thing as Broad River Road. Same thing as pretty close in construction to our other intersection at Lower Richland Harmon. Garner's Ferry Harmon, sorry. The grading work is commenced, and they've been working on drainage and work along the driveways. Three Rivers Greenway, Phase 1B is complete. We had approval from the railroad on some fencing we installed, so we'll be moving that off and into our complete list. So again, upcoming Alpine, Percival, Sunset sidewalk projects, and then Atlas Road widening are projects that are coming to solicitation soon. And that's what we have for the month.
Very good. Any questions, comments, concerns, or otherwise from the group?
I do have a question, and I'm not sure if this is the right one for it, but it's in regards to Hardscrabble Road. If there's a community that the widening project is affecting their entrance, will as they finish the widening thing, is part of that project, will it fix their entrance? Like if they had lights and like a brick sign and stuff like that that had to get removed because of the widening, is that something that is replaced by this project, or would that particular community be responsible on their own to replace or repair?
So on, for instance, we'll check into anything specific on Hardscrabble. As you know, with Hardscrabble, the penny fund provided funding to SCDOT on that, but we don't get like regular updates on that. But I do sometimes get calls on exactly that, but it was mostly about temporary situations with subdivision, entrance closures where they're expecting the subdivision to go out, onto a side road that can also connects during construction. As far as relocating things, I'll just tell you how we're doing it on Blythewood Road. We had to acquire a property, and yes, we're going to move a wall back, and it's a stone wall onto their, property after, for where that new right-of-way line is going to be. I don't know the cases specifically. It should have been a part of like the language in the particular right-of-way acquisition. Yes, we'll do this, or no, we won't, or owner will. So I can check on that specifically if you have any, if you want to email me or anything on that.
Okay.
But yeah, we can certainly look at that if that one in particular is of concern. But if it's just a general question, we have most of the examples I can think of, we are relocating things that were there, or we're on their property, but then there was an acquisition and we got to, move it back to where the new property line will be. And even to do that, we'll maybe have a temporary easement to allow us to work, beyond the acquired right away for that construction period.
I gotcha. I'm a community manager for Magnolia Hall, and I know they're stressing because it's their understanding, because of the widening, the entrance to that particular HOA is they're going to have to like relocate their electrical lights and stuff for their entrance signs and stuff like that, and replace their entrance signs. And it was their understanding, and nobody could tell me where it came from, but is that they're going to have to put out the money to replace all that stuff that's being taken out from the widening. So that's why I thought I'd check, but I'll follow up with an email to you about it.
Okay. Yep, you bet. And then we'll get a definitive answer from DOT on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I tell you, in Street View, you can see where all of that was demolished over time and taken back there. Definitely a dramatic difference, and I don't doubt would be appreciated to be returned. But yeah, with DOT being the intermediary there, definitely going to complicate things. Very good. Hey, with the Bluff Road widening, I remember going to the public meeting, and y'all had some great graphics up of what those sidewalks were going to look like and that sort of thing. And so we're reducing that pretty dramatically, it sounds like.
Let's just take a look at who's here a second. Yeah. Let's check our participant list here.
Note the red blinking light in the corner too.
Yeah, no. We're keeping, well, what we showed was not what I kind of indicated was the expensive sidewalk to get out towards the interstate. And kind of connect with where we heard there may be, multifamily dwellings out that way. But what we showed in the public hearing, we just had comments at that, I guess not public hearing, but public information meeting about extending those. So we got an estimate to do it, and it would be like another $9 million. And a lot of that is there's a lot of wetland crossings and bridge extensions that would be required to get walkways out that way. So no, we're not changing from the PIM information that you saw. We're just not able to do anything post PIM that was requested by a couple of the participants.
Okay, understood. Ms. Eva, I hope you heard the bit in there about the Lower Richland public meeting on the 19th. I know that was a project of interest for you.
Yes, I did note that and place it on my calendar. I have a question, Director Maloney, as it relates to the mitigation banking credit of the 3 million plus that
Yes,
has
ma'am.
been applied. How is the funds reallocated, or how is it used? Is it project specific to how you would use those funds when the credit is applied back to the budget?
Yes, ma'am. So it's not that we would apply that to okay, we have a new $3 million that came in. We actually expended, over 13 million to put the wetland mitigation bank together and create that bank. And so what it's doing is it's paying that off. It's paying back for the initial investment. And it's going back into that same line item that was at the very bottom of roadways for.
Oh yeah, I see the 13 million.
Yeah. Program, traffic studies, plans, and mitigation bank. So we do have a specific job ledger for that money to go back as a revenue source to that, to create a credit in that particular line item.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And yes, I'm tracking it now. The overall cost in that line item was 16 million, and with that recent sale, we're going to be taking that $13 million balance down to about 10 million. So that's good. So the 3 million in revenue, that's the revenue that's coming back in, is 3 million, but now it's 2.7 million greater than that. So just under 6 million in revenue coming back on that from the sale of the credits. And so like I say, when we add that in, that kind of is how I'm keeping track of it on that line item. We're going to be down just above 10 million for that sale. That sale bought up all the stream bank credits that we don't need. So we're keeping 3,400 stream bank credits for penny projects. And then we're keeping 100 wetland credits for penny projects. And other than that, we're promoting that these be sold down to those levels. And it sounds like with all that's going on, that could happen fairly soon.
Great, understood. Thank you.
You bet.
How many more of those wetland credits do you have, or about?
You caught me without my report from Quentin Epps, but it's it's up around 500, that kind of level. So it's quite a few. And when they do sell it down to 100, then we'll have another very large sale, larger than this one. So,
And then my last question was about the public notice for Bull and Elmwood. What did that look like, and what other or additional notice do you intend to issue before that gets started?
what did our public notice look like?
Yeah,
It
was
was
it
a,
a press release or
no,
media blitz, or how'd it go?
I don't know. Yeah, it might be somewhere in between those two, and it was a press conference. Um, Working with our public information office and Administrator Brown, and we had Mr. Paul Livingston, Derek Pugh. These are council members, and Miss Mackey, our chair of our committee for ad hoc, and vice chair, and then the chair of council, Overture Walker, at it. We gave we gave a groundbreaking ceremony there for that, and announced the construction start on January 2nd. So it should be on the news channels. We'll keep that going in our Facebook and webpage with Richland County as well. And, I think we all, including Rashid, myself, gave direct updates to the press at that to, indicate that when people drive to work in the morning, they may find, a lane closed where they're putting in median. And we let them know that, the bulk of the work is completed at night. But as they do certain items, there may be a lane closure, and, seek alternative routes. And then we kind of let them know what the project would be like after it's completed as well.
Gotcha. And with all that, is there also going to be an opportunity, and with the work happening at night, obviously that mitigates a lot of the issues that'll come about, and mobilization will take a while, and those times when you need to close a lane may be a ways out. But is there an opportunity to provide some temporary signage to inform folks so that they don't find out when they're sitting in traffic that was going to happen? Folks will just, very quickly turn sour on a project when they get held up on their way into the office.
Mm-hmm. There was a question. I do need to work with DOT maintenance that had a question about a specific timeline that would be in March, that, to see how that kind of merges with things they have going on. And so I will talk to them more about that kind of signage, and where we can, just let people know there's an alternative route. I ponder that every morning. I do come in on 126. Is there a better route? And do I go right to Hugie, or just keep going up Elmwood? I can tell you when this is in construction what my choice will be. It'll be to go to the right on Hugie and come up through town that way.
Absolutely. And everyone else, I'm sure, would appreciate the opportunity to make those decisions too. So that's great. Yeah. Anything else y'all can do to make sure folks are aware? That's great. Awesome. Any other questions for Mr. Maloney before we move on to the next item on the agenda? All right. Hearing none. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it very much. In other business, item 7 on our agenda here, our next meeting is scheduled for January 16th of the new year. That will be our first meeting of the year, and our first meeting with a quorum will be when we select our next slate of officers and make sure that we have a schedule for the year's meetings in place. I'll try to do some work to get as many folks as possible to that meeting, so that hopefully we can have a quorum, we can approve our October minutes, and do the official business of the committee. But do be thinking about, John and Eva, what roles y'all might want to take on in the new year to make sure that we can go ahead and utilize y'all's skills that y'all are providing for us here, and we'll continue to push to get some additional members appointed as well. I know that we've got a couple open slots for Richland County, but I imagine that rules and appointments has got some turnover right now, so I'm not sure how much they're pushing along, but also how many applications we have in the hopper. And then as much as I push City of Columbia, I hear crickets from them as far as getting another appointment there. So we'll keep pushing as hard as we can, but I think we might be pushing a rope in some regards there. But with that, and short, any other questions, comments, or concerns? Oh, Mr. Maloney, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Just for your next meeting, we have some security issues with going into 2020 at night. But just a question if you would want to have the meeting at another location, such as Powell Road. In person, we do have a couple of conference rooms there that would handle those that would want to come to a live meeting, and just simpler ingress egress at 400 Powell.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's worth considering. And let me see if I can get an email blast out to the group after the holidays when everyone's back in front of their computers and paying attention to see if there's any buy-in or desire to do that. And if so, we can certainly set that up. Yeah, this is something that came up recently that, we need to be able to pay security to keep the building open for us if we're going to meet at Richland County's offices. I'd hope that we could make this a function of council rather than a function of the penny to maybe coerce them a little bit more to keep the building open for us. But understanding the restraints that have been presented, I appreciate you bringing other opportunities and options for us there, Mr. Maloney.
Sure.
So we'll certainly solicit that from the entire group in the new year to see if we can't set that up. All right, y'all. Anything else before we sign off for the evening? Hearing none, oh, sorry, Ms. Eva, I saw you came off mute there.
Oh, was just going to say nothing else.
Very good. Well, I appreciate the affirmation there. Very good, y'all. Well, I appreciate your time very much. I hope everyone has a very happy holiday and a festive new year, and we'll talk to you in that new year. Good night, y'all.
Good night, everyone.